Welcome to another episode of Sangoma Society. This is a conversation I had with the BBC about life as a Sangoma in digital times. Enjoy. Hello, my name is Hani Magwagwa. I am a Sangoma, a storyteller, and a strategist. I live in Johannesburg, South Africa, and I work all over the world. Looking at these questions I've received, what is a Sangoma? A Sangoma is a person who is chosen by their ancestors to conduct work on behalf of the ancestors in this realm. Essentially, a Sangoma mediates between the living and those who are gone. And we do this work in the settings of mediation, emsamo esigodlweni, what one might call a shrine or a prayer place, and we mediate and we stand in the gap between those living and those who are gone in terms of family bloodlines, to explain certain events that may be taking place in a person's life that are caused by those who are no longer amongst us, or karmic ties from the bloodline in which one has incarnated. We also deal with common ailments, some which we would say are common, perhaps are not so common to perhaps other kinds of medicine. For instance, Western medicine. That is one of the areas that we would mediate. We dispense medicine. So a Sangoma is essentially a healer. Yeah, I think that's what we would say. A healer who is under the influence of their ancestors, or working at the pleasure of their ancestors. Some of the reasons why a person would consult a Sangoma are that they would find events in their lives being unexplainable in any other frame of understanding, perhaps not medicinally or otherwise, and hence they might consult with a Sangoma. Another reason a person might consult a Sangoma is if they were suffering a certain physical ailment. Another reason a person would consult a Sangoma was if they needed interpretation of dreams, required mediation on a family matter. Perhaps there's an inability to see eye to eye between members of the family, and they need a neutral mediator to understand perhaps how a certain custom or ritual or rite of passage is supposed to be conducted, because perhaps those who knew all those details are no longer with us, and for that reason they need deeper guidance, or guidance directly from those people, and through the mediation of a Sangoma with the relevant ancestors, they can actually get the answers. A person consults a Sangoma when they are seeking clarity on their life. My clients are people from all walks of life, all races, all the continents on this planet. I have clients. My clients are individuals who are seeking a sense of purpose in their lives and know that their purpose is beyond just a simple series of desires, but may go deeper into the purpose of their incarnation into their bloodline and are looking for answers in that regard. My clients are people who are struggling just with their emotional and psychological health and are not getting the help that they expect from other spaces. My clients are people who have been doing the work and have come to realize that there's something that's going on in their lives that they can't pinpoint and are looking for a deeper sense of clarity about where that's coming from. My clients are individuals who are seeking their truth. How my approach to the day-to-day work of Ubungoma is a little bit different from what was happening, say, 10 or 20 years ago. It's just really the incorporation of technology. It's not really that different to what I have seen my elders do, except when I was initiating to begin with, my elders quickly realized that my clients were international because I've lived all over the world. So when people heard that I was going through the process of initiating to become a Sangoma, there were a lot of people who came to me for help while I was still initiating, and they weren't from the immediate vicinity in which I was initiating. And my initiator straight away, Ukobela, was like, yeah, okay, set the appointment via Skype, and we'll do it via Skype. And I was like, what? And that's really how it started, that I would find myself doing so much work digitally. It's a consultation just the same as an in-person consultation, no different in that regard, except that it doesn't confine you to having to come to me physically. I would still feel the ailments that you have in your body. I would still see, the troubles that you have. I'd still see your ancestors. They'd still come through. I still hear. It's exactly the same. The only difference is that I use a phone a lot of the time, and since the 23rd of February 2020, I have been consulting pretty much strictly by phone. That was on instruction of my ancestors, and then a lockdown was then declared about a month later here in South Africa, and by then I had transitioned to only allowing telephonic bookings. So that's another thing perhaps that I use that's a bit different. I use a booking system because of my sensitivity, my body being an instrument, and once you've committed to seeing a Sangoma, there is an entourage of your ancestors that leaves and goes to kind of camp where you said you're coming. And that interaction, if I have direct interaction with my clients, it can really be troublesome for me as a person, because I can experience their symptoms, their dreams, their thoughts, their moods, their cravings, and it's very uncomfortable because it can make the space in my life for me as Honey a lot smaller. So if you're coming to see me as Isangoma, Umakhosi no Mabuto, then you have to come through that booking system, and pretty much everything is automated. And until we have the consultation, which should essentially be our first conversation, and then we can get into things from there. But other than that, pretty much everything is the same. We hear about stories in the olden days. A person would come to a Sangoma having traveled for days from a completely different place, and that Sangoma would know why they were there, what they had to do for this person, and so on and so forth. Because in terms of idlozi or our ancestors being digital, being in the ether, being beyond this realm, not being tied to objects, places and things, that has always been. So there is nothing different or new in that regard, just that I followed the guidance of my ancestors and used certain elements of technology as per their advice, and it served me well and increased my capacity to show up for their work and brought me a lot of joy in the way that I'm able to conduct their work and serve at the pleasure of my ancestors as Umakosi no Mabutu. Thank you so much for watching, and it's been wonderful speaking to you, BBC. I hope to do it again sometime.